Okay, Shalom Boys here. Well, I am out and about today working on a client project, and I wanted to share with you carpenters out there that may be starting off or may be in business for a number of years now. What I've been doing when it comes to material costs and client projects. Now, we all know that not only do you do the labor, but there's a material aspect of it. If you don't have the material, you don't have the labor. If you don't have the labor, you don't have the material. Both. You need both. And the person that is typically acquiring the material, typically, are the people that are doing the labor. So, I just now got back from Lowe's. I see Lowe's filled with people in their trucks, and attached to their trucks are 16-foot trailers, 18-foot trailers, and loaded with material. It's about to get busy in the spring. People getting their taxes and everything, but I digress. We have to get the materials as well. Typically, we get the materials. Now, when I define materials, I define any product that is directly or indirectly associated with me building or creating whatever it is that the client wants me to do, whether it's in the kitchen, a bathroom, or whatever, right? So we're talking about materials and the cutting tools necessary to cut those materials. I'm talking about the Sawzall blades. I'm talking about the circular saw blades. I'm talking about the router bits. I'm talking about all of that stuff. Some people do it differently. This is how I do it. We're talking about if you need to frame out a wall, you need nails. That's cost. You need screws. That's cost. So anything associated with that, I include. And so I just charge labor, or I can charge labor and materials. But when it comes to materials, that is the material side. And that is covered by the customer. So in an event that I am able to charge labor and materials, what I do is charge them for labor and materials, and the only difference with me is that the receipts that I give them are receipts that I generate myself, meaning that I sell as well out of my inventory of materials. And I acquire those materials because I know for a fact that I'm going to use those materials in the future. So, perfect example, 2x4s. You can't go wrong with 2x4s. I'm constantly, every time I see on a cold cart 2x4s, I'm constantly buying those 2x4s. Anytime I see sheetrock and I got room for it, I'm constantly buying sheetrock because I know screws, stuff like this, I know that I'm going to be able to sell it. But the only difference is that I'm paying 90% off. I'm paying 90% off sheetrock. I'm paying 90% off, 60% off 2x4s, 2x6s, all of this stuff. Anything that I need to mud, What else? Mortar, for tile, all of this stuff. I'm constantly buying it. I'm buying this stuff through my relationship with the contractors desk, through the call cart, through things that are discontinued or discounted. If there's a busted bag in the mortar section, and that thing costs $30, I go ahead and I purchase it for $10. But guess what? There's going to come a time where I'm going to be doing that same project, and the client is going to need mortar. See, it doesn't matter, and people, get into the quantity of a bag, right? I may not use an entire bag, and it may not even be necessary to use an entire bag on a particular project when I'm doing something, whether it's patching a wall or something. But from the client's perspective, hey, they know that they need the material, and they may not even never use the material again. There's been many times where I've offered the material back to the client at the end of the project, and they said, well, get that out of here. I don't want it. What do I need to do with that? Please get it out of here. They do that all the time. They want their place clean. They want the bathroom to be used. They don't want anything around. They want it to continue on with their new remodel. So this is the mentality of the client, or the majority of them, which I've experienced. So I get a call. Listen, I need to frame out a wall. Great. You need to frame out a wall? Awesome. I can do it. You want me to pick up the material, or you want me to get the material? Mind you, I got everything necessary to frame out a wall in storage on a land, right? That I purchased 90% off, everything. So I'll say, so typically they say, yeah, you can pick up the material. I say, I got a 16-foot trailer. Typically they don't have a trailer or anything like that. Sometimes they do. Sometimes they don't want to be bothered with the notion of picking up materials. Fine. I'll go ahead and get both. Time to submit the invoice. I also include a receipt from myself of the 2x4s, the amount of 2x4s, and the list price of the 2x4s. I include the price of the sheetrock, the mud, everything. And they said, well, you used out of your own material. Yeah, I used out of my own material. They're concerned with the material costs, which they can confirm themselves. And they're concerned with the fact that when they walk into their bathroom, there's a new wall there, or the sheetrocking is done, or whatever it is. They're concerned with the end result. They know for a fact that it took XYZ material to accomplish this task. And they paid for it. And they have no problem with that. So you see how I just now made money not only on my labor, but on the material cost as well. Nails, screws, create an itemized invoice of what it costs, but it's coming from me. And all that client needs to be concerned with is the fact that I did what I said I was going to do. And if they want the excess material, I can always produce it for them because I always have excess material. They may say, well, at the end of the project that I sold them the material for, right? So I sold them the sheetrock and all that stuff. And they may say, well, I want these extra pieces of sheetrock. Sure, you paid for it. Here, you want these screws out of this box right here that I already had, that I sold to you? Or that another client didn't care about, just was concerned with me getting out of their house so that they could use whatever it is that I finished? Here, please have it. Well, material in of itself is a profit center for me now. Metal, Metal's going for went from $2 to $4 a linear foot for metal roofs, metal siding, anything like that. Metal. I got a ton of that metal on the land. It's always a situation where they need a piece of green this, or they need a piece of red metal this, and you just so happen to have it. Or they want to build something out and they need some metal, and you just so happen to, hey, I can provide that metal in white or in red or whatever it is that I have. You see how I'm making money off that metal that I probably be purchased or got at a steep discount. Purchased and got at a steep discount. Now that's a profit center for me now. So these are some of the things that you carpenters need to be doing, especially in these times. Because let me tell you, I got tons of 2x4s, 2x6s, 2x8s. That cold card, I'll be buying that thing straight out, but I'll go ahead and buy it for $200, and it may be $800 worth of material retail that's sitting there. Some may be warped or anything like that, or something like that. But them pieces are good to do a wall. There may be a 12-foot section. Or a 12-foot 2x4, but the top right-hand side of it is shattered, so you can only get 9 feet of 2x4 out of it, but it's a 12-foot section. I can still use that. You see how that goes? To frame out a wall, but Lowe's can't sell it because there's a scratch or there's a ding or something like that. Y'all better start looking to do this stuff with appliances and stuff like this as well, because the price of everything is going up, and you can profit off of those prices by leveraging your inventories. I'm talking about nails, bolts, screws, adhesives, caulks. I got a ton of this stuff. Screws, tape, mud. I can go on and on. From previous projects that they didn't want, or that I purchased at a steep discount, or got something out of some garage sale or whatever. I'm always picking up things because I know I'm going to use it in the future. I know I'm going to use some sheetrock in the future. I know I'm going to use some 2x4s in the future. I know I'm going to use these things. And so why pay retail for it? I mean, cost of 2x4s, of course, gone up. Sheetrock up. Screws up, adhesives up, all that stuff comes from oil. And it's just going to get more valuable. Material resources are the game, because if you don't have the materials as well as the skill set, then what's the point? There's no point. And the worst case that you could possibly be in this day and age is to not have the skills and pay retail for everything that you need in order to get it done.